Hey everyone, Felipe here. Welcome to another Tower of Saviors card review video. In this video, I'll be taking a look at the 1% jackpot card from the new Monster Strike collaboration seal, Neo Reverse Mode. I will also be taking a look at her branched evolution, Neo HelloWorld mode, and I'll be letting you know about my thoughts and opinions about this card and whether she is worth pulling for the current meta or not. So let's begin with Neo Reverse Mode. Let's take a look at her leader skill. We have that when the team has only Monster Strike members or human members, team attack increases by 8 times, while HP and recovery increases by 1.8 times. Runestone movement time increases regardlessly by 2 seconds. When your current HP is greater than 80%, attack damage dealt to enemies will increase by 3 times additionally, and by dissolving 2 or more types of runestones, your team attack increases by 2.5 times additionally. Furthermore, we are going to take a look at her team skills because they tend to complement the leader skill usually. We have when the leader is Neo Reverse Mode and the ally is Neo Reverse Mode or Neo Hello World Mode, you get the following skills. Smog, black holes will be nullified. Runestone movement will not be stopped when you touch electrify runes or laser runes. Well, additionally, when you touch explosive bombs, you will not receive any damage. 10% of the attack damage dealt by enemies by Neo Reverse Mode will be converted to HP recovery to the max of 100% HP. Each member will launch an extra non-attributive attack. Attributive runestones will also possess the effect of any Monster Strike members' attributes in your team. Upon entering each stage and each time you move to a new wave, Neo Reverse Mode will obtain 4 explosive bombs. Every time an explosive bomb, a boss kill, is touched, Neo Reverse Mode will gain 1 explosive bombs, and she can have at most 4 explosive times at the same time. The benefit of these explosive bombs is that attack of Neo Reverse Mode will be increased by 1.5 if she has any explosive bombs on her. Every time Neo Reverse Mode attacks, explosive bombs of that Neo Reverse Mode will decrease by 1. Additionally, by triggering any character runestone of any Monster Strike member, that member will enter a hyper state for 2 rounds. If there is a Neo Reverse Mode in the team and you have 4 or more Monster Strike members in the team, when you pull any character runes and end in the column below Neo Reverse Mode, that Neo Reverse Mode will electrify the enemies for 1 round when it attacks. Additionally, you get the Monster Strike special, which is that craft apparatus will be fully charged after entering the stage, and Monster Strike members will have their attack increased by 1.5. And the condition is to have a Jasper of Sprinting craft if your leader is a Monster Strike leader. Additionally, there is a certain chance for you to have all skill cooldowns of your members become 0 when you enter the stage when you have a Jasper of Sprinting mode with only Monster Strike members in your team. That was a lot of words, but let's break this down. In my opinion, Neo Reverse Mode has a pretty good leader skill. Times 8 team attack is pretty much the golden standard nowadays in the current meta, and having that is definitely going to be good for her. However, she also gets additional means of increasing your team's damage, one of them being to have your HP greater than 80%, and the other one is by dissolving 2 or more types of runestones in the first batch, or 2 or more types of runestones not first batch. This means that this second condition is going to be really easy to hit because dissolving 2 types of runestones is really easy, especially if it's not the first batch because you can still stack runes or use guaranteed skydrop for that. So this is pretty much a guaranteed 2.5 team attack. Your HP being greater than 80%, that should be pretty easy to achieve as well because Neo Reverse Mode 1 gives you HP and recovery bonus of 1.8 times, and she still has an alternatively healing condition, which is by launching attack she will recover 10% of your HP. 10% of your attack damage will be recovered as HP, which means that more often than not you will have greater than 80% HP and fulfill this condition. This means that you have a pretty easy to attain times 3 attack additionally. This might be a little bit more rough with ambush enemies that will lower your HP when you enter the stage because that will bring you out of range to have this times 3 attack bonus. However, if you're able to recover your HP easily or through skills, this is going to be a really easy 3 times attack bonus in my opinion. Now looking at her team skills, this is going to be quite a lot of text, but basically she does have a lot of enemy skill counters. For example, Smog, Black Hole, Electrify runes, Laser runes, and Explosive Bomb runes will not affect her at all. And this is good to have in a team skill because that means you don't have to rely on any active skills in order to counter these enemy skills, and gives you more flexibility in building your team and putting more supports or other counters in your teams. Yeah, launching extra non-attributive attacks is also really good, especially because Neo will get can increase her attack even further with explosive bombs. This is going to be a 1.5 attack increase, which means that her attacks will deal more damage than the other team members. So being able to launch another non-attributive attack means that you're able to deal more damage with your Neo and with all your members generally. Attributive runestones will possess the effect of Monster Strike members' attribute. This is also really good, pretty standard to have in a current leader, in current meta leaders. Having runestone possession effect is really good because that means that you will be less susceptible to having runestone drought. And having runestone drought is pretty bad because that means that your attack output will go down, and in certain cases, in certain stages, this could mean death. And so being able to have a consistent supply of attacking runes is going to be really beneficial for any leader out there in the game right now. Bam! After that, we have um, all the explosive bomb effects, which is not bad. It is a good thing for Neo because you do get that 1.5 attack boost if you have explosive bombs, and you also gain the immunity to explosive bombs, which is going to be pretty good. However, the one thing that I want to talk about is going to be this last team skill here, that by triggering a character runestone of a Monster Strike member, that member will enter a hyper state for 2 rounds. And this is going to be really, really good, and it is something that is shared among all the Monster Strike leaders. And this is good because normally when you trigger a character runestones, the member will go into a fatigue state for 1 round, and that means that member will not be able to launch any attacks for that round. Basically, you are sacrificing that extra attack from the character rune and substituting it with a fatigue state. However, you are completely bypassing this dynamic with this team skill, because by pulling character runestones, not only you launch that extra attack, but you do enter a hyper state for 2 rounds. And this means that you do not have that downside, and you even launch even more attacks, and nothing is stopping you from pulling the same character rune twice. So now that your member is in a hyper state, you can also pull the character rune again and launch an extra attack with this hyper state bonus. So in my opinion, this is going to be a really good mechanic for these Monster Strike leaders, um, being able to bypass the character rune downside. So definitely for Neo Reverse Mode and Monster Strike leaders, pulling character runes is more of an incentive because now there is no downside to pulling those character runes unless you're dealing with traffic light runes. But yeah, afterwards we have another team skill where Neo Reverse Mode is able to launch extra attacks, and we have the Monster Strike special. So in my opinion, her team skill is actually really good, complementing her leader skill. You are able to launch more attacks. You're also able to have runestone possession, which means that you are able to run rainbow teams as long as you have monster strikes of different attributes in your team for that runestone possession effect. But yeah, overall, as a leader, I think she is pretty good in terms of damage output as well as enemy skill countering, but she does stop short of shield breaking potential in her team skill. You are not able to break puzzle shields, initial shields, stealth shields, quintet shields, enchanted shields, things like that with Neo Reverse Mode, just based on her team skills. Her active skills will help a little bit, but her team skills will not have any of that. That means that you are going to be relying on active skills to break some of the annoying shields in the game, and anti-runestone shield, number shields, combo nullifying, fixed combo, all these annoying shields that appear in endgame content, you are going to have to rely on members' active skills in order to break them. And if you encounter too many of them, that could be a downside. You would have to sacrifice damage output or other support cards in order to slot in a card that can deal with these skills. Another downside of her as a leader is that she does benefit more of having Monster Strike members in the team. You can build her around with just normal humans, and this is going to be really good because the human pool has really good cards and really good active skills, for example Kurapika or Tanjiro and things like that. But in order to benefit the most out of your Monster Strike benefits, say for example the runestone possession or the character runestone effect, you are going to have to run more Monster Strike members in the team, and that is going to limit you to these very few collaborations that we've had. But keep in mind that some of the past collaborations also count as Monster Strike, so there is a higher pool of collaboration cards that you can choose. But yeah, overall, pretty good leader, but I do feel like she is going to fall out of the meta pretty fast because she doesn't have too many gimmicks that will give her that much of an advantage moving forward. There is no combo increasing, there's no shield breaking just for having her. So I think even though she's a good leader, she might fall off the meta if you compare her to other new collaborations that come in the future. That being said, being able to recover HP without the use of using your team recovery is really useful. Look at Tsuyo and Lilith. There are certain stages where you are not able to heal because of your recovery block, so being able to heal without that is definitely a benefit. But yeah, so that's all about her as a leader skill. Again, good leader, but she will probably fall off the meta more or sooner than other collaboration cards because she doesn't have a broken gimmick that will carry her moving forward. Now let's take a look at her active skill. We have a CD6 active skill, and just like any Monster Strike member, she will have a phase 1 and phase 2. For her phase 1 skill, you have that you turn all runestones into enchanted runes. For 1 round, your character's attack will increase by 8 times. Attacks will be altered to non-attributive attacks, and damage will be dealt regardless of defense and initial shield. If you wait for 2 more rounds, meaning that you make this a CD8 skill, you have an upgraded version of her skill where all runestones will be transformed into enchanted human runestones, character attack increases by 12 times instead, and your damage will be dealt ignoring defense, initial shield, runestone combo nullifying shield, and combo shield. So this active skill definitely helps out with her team skill because it has some of those shield breaking utility effects that I was talking about. CD6 is going to be really good to break initial shield and break defense. CD6 is pretty fast. However, if you want to benefit from the full shield breaking potential, you will have to wait for those 2 extra rounds. And these 2 extra battle rounds are not affected by CD reduction, since at this point your phase 1, your CD is already 0. So you still have to wait those 2 rounds, even if you're able to bring your skill cooldown to 0 by other means. You still have to wait for this 2 rounds. However, in my opinion, this phase 1 skill is pretty good already. 8 times attack bonus is pretty significant, and given that Neo Reverse Mode launches extra attacks with her leader skill and her team skill, it means that she will be launching pretty heavy attacks when you activate her skill. However, if you want to wait for 2 more rounds, I would say you should only activate this the phase 2 skill if you have to deal with combo nullifying or combo seal, because otherwise the phase 1 skill should be good enough. However, if you have to deal with any of these annoying shields, activating phase 2 is also a better option because it can ignore those shields, and you're going to launch heavier attacks because your self-attack multiplier is times 12 instead of times 8. But yeah. So overall, I think this is a really good active skill. Keep in mind these benefits only benefit the attack the character herself, so this only affects Neo reverse mode that activates this active skill. If this shield ignoring potential was shared among the team, this will be an S rank skill. However, this is only for your own character, so only Neo reverse mode. And however, I do think that is going to be good for her as a member in the future. Once her leader skill falls out of the meta, I think this still is a good skill to have in your teams because you can ignore a lot of shields and you only have to wait for 8 rounds in order to activate that. And having that is going to be pretty beneficial in my opinion. Especially this CD6 initial shield break is going to be great because most initial shield breakers are CD8. So being able to have her CD6 is going to be really amazing. But yeah, in my opinion, really good active skill. It does complement her as a leader as well because it can break some of those shields that her team skill doesn't cover. And you also launch very heavy attacks that can help you kill boss enemies in one shot. But yeah, now let's take a look at Neo Hello World, her leader skill. So for Neo Hello World, you have that Monster Strike members and Water members will have their attack increased by 7.5 times and their HP and recovery increased by 1.6. Your runestone movement time increases by 3 seconds regardlessly. And by dissolving water runes, your attack of Monster Strike members and Water members increases by 1.8 times additionally. Other runes also possess the effect of water runes. Now let's take a look at her team skill. We have that when the leader is Neo Hello World mode and the ally is Neo, either reverse mode or Hello World, we have that the team is equipped with a shield of 60,000 points. Each time you enter a next wave, this shield will be recovered. Water runes will also possess the effect of other runestones. For all water runes touched while moving, you will remove the negative effect of Frozen, Weaken, Lock for Recovery, and Petrify runes and turn them into enchanted runes. If runestone movement time ends after 2 or more seconds, your team attack increases by 2.5 times, and damage will be dealt regardless of defense. If you take more than 5 seconds to finish runestone movement, your team attack further increases by 2.5 times additionally, and damage will be dealt regardless of trio, quartet, and quintet elemental shield and initial shield. If runestone movement ends after 8 seconds, attack of Monster Strike and Water members will increase by 3 times additionally. By triggering the character runestone of any Monster Strike member, that member enters a hyperstate for 2 rounds. When the character runestone is triggered and last runestone movement ends in the column below Neo Hello World, that Neo Hello World will weaken the attack of any enemy by 50% for 1 round when it attacks. And this condition is to have 4 or more Monster Strike members in your team and finishing your runestone movement with a character rune under the column of Neo Hello World. The other team skills are going to be the Monster Strike specials, so we don't really need to talk about those right now. In my opinion, Neo Hello World is a better leader than Neo Reverse Mode. And I think Neo Hello World has a lot of good points for her leader skill, and I think it is going to be an amazing leader to have. This is because even though her attack decreases from 8 times 8 to times 7.5, 7.5 is still pretty respectable, but Neo Hello World has more attack boosting multipliers as well. And her conditions are easier to hit. One of her conditions is to dissolve water runes, which is going to be pretty easy. It's not guaranteed, but it is pretty easy to fulfill, especially if it doesn't have to be in the first batch. Additionally, the other attack increasing skills are satisfied just by keeping your finger on the screen. Runestone movement time has to end after 8 seconds for you to have the full attack multiplier, but you get a 2.5 attack multiplier, plus another 2.5 attack multiplier, plus another 3 times attack multiplier if you end runestone movement time after 8 seconds. And this is going to be really easy to hit. Even if you have a desired board, you can just keep your finger on the screen until that time is done, and you will still benefit from those attack multipliers. That means that these conditions are really easy to hit, and your damage output is going to increase by a lot as well. And keep in mind, you also get extra 3-second runes of movement time. So even if your runestone movement time gets decreased to like 5 seconds, you are still able to get 5 seconds or 8 seconds of runestone movement time. And I believe the standard is 5 seconds, so you already have 8 seconds of extended runestone movement time regardless, which is pretty good. And also, she does have a lot of shield breaking potential in her toolkit, in her team skill. You can break defense, you can break trio, quartet, quintet elemental shield, as well as initial shield without having to use any skills. And this is going to be really good, again, because that frees up the member slots in your team, and you can put in other members that can boost your attack or break other annoying shields that pop up in the stage. You also get to ignore Frozen, Weaken, Lock for Recovery, and Petrify rune only on your water runes, however. But this does mean that if you have these effects on your water runes, you are still able to launch full water rune attack, and you can still benefit from the dissolving water runes effect. As a leader, you also get Runestone Possession effect, which means that you are able to launch attacks really easily, and you will not run out of attacking runes anytime soon, since every rune in the board will be your attacking rune. The only downside of not having water runes is that you lose out on the 1.8 attack boost. However, having all other runestones possess the effect of water runes will make that up, and you still have plenty of attack multipliers in your team to ignore this 1.8 attack boost if you are unable to dissolve water runes. The only downside of Neo HelloWorld is that her shield, while it's good to have, will only refresh every time you enter the next wave. So it is less likely for you to stall using the shield. For example, with Lilith. Wait, no, not Lilith. With Melody. Melody refreshes her shield based on recovering, so she can refresh her shield every round. Meanwhile, or for example, Neo, Melody can refresh her shield every round by using HP recovery, but for example, Neo HelloWorld, you will only be able to refresh your shield after entering the next wave. So that means that you're not able to stall the enemy by continuously refreshing your shield every time, which could be a slight downside, but if you're killing everything in one turn, that doesn't really matter. The other downside is that you don't have any way of dealing with Electrify runes or these Frozen, Weaken, Lock for Recovery, Petrify runes if they happen in any other runestones. For example, if you have a full Petrified Heart runes, you're not able to turn them back to normal. This effect only happens for water runes. So that is a slight downside, and you still might need to bring any utility to refresh your board, but given how much utility you have in your team skill, that is not going to be that much of a concern. But yeah, in my opinion, as a leader, she is a really good leader, has really good attack multipliers, and it is going to be a better leader than Neo Reverse Mode. Now let's take a look at her active skill. It is also a two-phase skill. However, her first phase is CD5 and has the following effect. Burning and black holes will be nullified. Lasers will not stop you, and explosive bombs will deal no damages. Your runestone movement time increases by 10 seconds, and if the leader is a Monster Strike member, your damage received from scorching areas is decreased by 50%. For phase 2, this skill can be activated after waiting 2 more battle rounds after CD becomes 0. You have the same effects. Burning black holes will be nullified, laser traps will not affect you, and explosive bombs will not deal damage. However, now the runestone movement time increases by 15 seconds instead of 10. You also get an additional 2 times team attack, and scorching areas will be the damage from scorching areas will be reduced by 80% instead of 50%, and you get the additional utility to ignore fixed combo shield. My opinion, this active skill is really good. the phase 2. CD5 for first phase is not bad. However, I would just consider this as a CD7 skill. Um, don't don't worry about phase 1. This skill is best at CD7, which is still a pretty respectable cooldown. CD7 is a little bit slower than the average, if we take the average to be CD6. But the effects that come up with this skill are definitely worth those extra 2 battle rounds for you to wait. This is because this is a strict upgrade to Neo Hello World skill. Sometimes if the damage from scorching areas is too high, 50% might not be enough to save you from those scorching areas, and you might need that minus 80% damage reduction. However, the thing that makes this skill even better is the 2x teen attack and also the ability to ignore fixed combo shield. Being able to ignore fixed combo shields or any shields in general is definitely going to be really beneficial. However, for Neo Hello World and Neo Reverse Mode, or these Monster Strike leaders in general, fixed combo shield could be a potential pain, especially if we're talking about 9 combo shield or 10 combo shield. There isn't that much, that it's pretty easy for any leader to break 9 combo shield or 10 combo shield, so being able to have a fixed combo shield breaker is definitely going to be really beneficial for your team, and having CD7 for it is definitely going to be really good. Keep in mind that the downsides for these 2 phase skills still apply for it, so even if your CD is 0 after entering this stage, you still have to wait 2 more battle rounds, but again, not that much of a disadvantage. In my opinion, this active skill is going to be amazing, also as a member skill in the future, because of the utility that it has in countering a lot of the enemy skills. I can see this skill working in future teams as well, because you ignore burning, you ignore black hole, you ignore lasers, ignore explosive bombs, ignore fixed combo shield. So definitely a really good active skill that condenses a lot of utility into a single card. And as the game improves, it is really good to have active skills that can do multiple things rather than having specialized active skills. So in my opinion, Neo Hello World has a pretty good active skill as well. So now, having talked about these 2 characters, do I recommend pulling for them? I think because they are the 1% jackpot card, and it does take about 35 pulls to guarantee pulling for her, I do think they are great for active skills. They are not broken, in my opinion. As leaders, I think they're really good as well, but they also don't have that much of a broken gimmick. If you have Lilith, for example, Lilith is enough to take care of whatever these 2 will take care of. Again, because Lilith is also a water leader, but can also bring rainbow teams. She can definitely overpower or overshower these 2 cards, in my opinion. So if you have Lilith, you might want to consider saving your resources and not pulling for Neo. However, I do think Neo Reverse Mode and Neo Hello World are pretty good leaders. Like I said before, I do think Hello World is a better leader than Reverse Mode. But if you're able to get 2 copies, then having 1 of each will be really good, because both active skills will be able to give you different things for your team building potential. Especially Neo Reverse Mode is able to electrify enemies without the use of any skills with her team skill, and this one only requires her to be in the team, which means that it is going to be pretty good utility to have them. However, I do think they are not as broken as other collaboration cards. So I'd say that if you don't have the resources, or if you are definitely waiting for the next big collaboration, I think it is worth saving your resources if you don't have enough of them. I do think they're really good cards, but I feel like they're not broken enough to guarantee, or for me to suggest for you to pull for a 1% jackpot card, since that is still what is that? 175 diamonds. Their active skills are really good and have a lot of utility condensed into it, but if I'm honest, these counters are a little bit rare for now. Black holes and lasers are pretty rare. Explosive bomb, Matt had said that they will introduce this skill later, so it might be for a ultimate stage or a nightmare stage that is tailored for Monster Strike leaders, but who knows how often we'll see them in the future as well. Burning, pretty standard, but there's already too many cards that can ignore burning, so that's not bad at all. Scorching areas also pretty rare. Haven't seen them that often, but when they happen, it is pretty good to have the skill. Um, that being said, I do think again, pretty good active skill, but I wouldn't really recommend for you to pull for them, especially since they are a little bit more weak in terms of collaboration cards. But again, this is a game, so if you have extra resources to spend or you have the financial means to get them, then it's definitely a good card to have. But I guess my opinion is that if you get them, you will not regret it. But if you don't get them, you will also not regret them, especially since there might be other black hole cards or collaboration cards coming out in the future. Um, but yeah, do I recommend getting 2 copies? Definitely not. If you Getting 2 copies means that you have to spend 70 pulls, and that's going to be 350 diamonds. That is quite a bit. So if you get lucky and get 2, great. But I would say, like, if you really want to spend diamonds, getting 1 is enough. Getting 2 will be nice, but only do it if you're willing to spend at most 350 diamonds for this seal. Which, in my opinion, I would say it would be better to save for the next collaboration or for the next black gold card. But yeah, definitely having 2 would be nice, but definitely don't go for it because that's a lot of diamonds and a lot of more cards will come up in the future, that some of them having really good skills. Additionally, Matt did say you are able to evolve these 2 interchangeably, so having one of them will allow you to have the other one if you evolve it. You will have to spend some resources in the forms of the traveler's memories, and also the um, Eidolon of humans, which are kind of expensive. But if you have one of them, you have access to both. So if there is a stage that requires the other mode, you can still freely switch between the 2 by spending some resources. So, do I recommend this card? Yes, but only if you have the resources. If you lack the resources, I'd say if you skip, you will not regret it. Should you pull for 2? Definitely not unless you are willing to spend that much diamonds and resources on them. But is it nice to have 2? Definitely, because you are able to run both in the same team, and that is going to have a lot of more usage as well, in my opinion. But yeah, in terms of team building, they have access to all the human, or reverse mode has access to all human pool, and HelloWorld has access to all water members. And water members is going to be really broad and really good as well. So definitely having that is going to be good. And the good thing about HelloWorld is that you are not that tied to Monster Strike, Mono Monster Strike, because she doesn't have that much um, benefit from just running a Mono Monster Strike team, unless you want to benefit from the Hyper State, but she herself can just benefit from there if you're running a Mono Water without any other Monster Strike members. But yeah, so overall, I do think they're pretty good leaders, definitely solid leaders, especially for a collaboration seal. However, in terms of collaboration seals, I do feel like they're a little bit on the weaker side, which is nice because their design is a little bit more simple. But again, they are not broken and they're not a must need for you to get. Definitely a good addition to your team if you want to, but if you skip them, it is not, you will not regret it. That is my opinion. But yeah, that's all I wanted to say about these cards. Please let me know in the comments if I said anything wrong or if I missed out on anything. And as always, stay tuned on my YouTube channel for more Tower Saviors content. For now, stay safe, stay healthy, and I will see you next time. Bye everyone!